students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the important physiographical or geographical regions of the continent of Europe. This particular video is going to be very helpful for solving map-based questions from the European regions or the European continent. So first of all, to give you the brief introduction, Europe is the second smallest continent of the world out of the 7 continents which we have. Only other continent that is having lower landmass or lesser landmass than Europe is the Oceania. Now, Europe extends from the island nation of Iceland in the north. If you look at the map here, this Europe map here, this is the Iceland in the north. So from Iceland in the north all the way up to Ural Mountains that is situated in the western part of the Russia, western part of Russia in the east. Similarly, if we talk about the northern and southernmost point, so northernmost point of Europe is what we call as Svalbard region, which is a type of archipelago, that is a group or collection of island which is governed by Norway, and in the south it reaches as far as the island countries of Malta in the Mediterranean Sea. And also because of its unique kind of geographical shape, Europe is many times described as peninsula of peninsulas. Now, peninsula is something that is referred as a landmass which is surrounded by water from all the 3 sides. Now, similarly, if you look at the European continent, basically it is extending all the way into Atlantic Ocean in the west. In the north, it is surrounded by North Sea and Atlantic Ocean, and then further to the Arctic Ocean. And in the south, it is surrounded by large water bodies such as Mediterranean Sea as well as the Black Sea region. Now, the major peninsulas of Europe, we try to understand, we can divide them into 2 different regions. One, the Northern Europe, and the other is Southern Europe. So we try to understand, first of all, in the Southern Europe, we have 3 important peninsulas, that is Iberian Peninsula, Italian Peninsula, and Balkan Peninsula. So let us try to understand where these peninsulas are situated on the map of Europe. So if you look closely, here we have Iberian Peninsula that is extending all the way in the west to Atlantic Ocean, and basically it is surrounded by Atlantic Ocean in the west and Mediterranean Sea in the east. Now, Iberian Peninsula, if we talk about from the country's perspective, is extending in 2 major countries. We have Spain as well as Portugal. Also, if we talk about Iberian Peninsula, here we have a very important water bodies that is called as a strait, called as Strait of Gibraltar, that act as a water passes between Atlantic Ocean and Mediterranean Sea is situated in this region. Second important peninsula is what we can call as Italian Peninsula. So if we talk about this particular region, this is the Italy, and it is extending all the way again into the Mediterranean Sea. And third is the Balkan Peninsula. Balkan refer to the countries which are situated in the south and eastern part of Europe. So this particular region, as you are seeing here, that is bound by Adriatic Sea, Black Sea, and Aegean Sea, and in the southwest from the Ionian Sea, that region is called as Balkan. So obviously, the Balkans are surrounded by water from 3 sides, and Balkans generally have countries such as Croatia, Slovenia, and earlier what we used to call the country that no longer exists is what we call as Yugoslavia. So Yugoslavia was basically situated in the Balkan region. Yugoslavia later on has disintegrated into several different countries, out of which Croatia and Slovenia are the major one. Apart from that, smaller countries such as Bosnia and Herzegovina are also situated in this region. Apart from that, we have here also you have Albania and Serbia. These nations are there. If we talk about the peninsulas of Northern Europe, again, 2 major peninsulas are there that we can find out. First of all, we have the Scandinavian Peninsula. Scandinavian Peninsula refers to countries which is situated in the northern part of Europe, which comprises countries such as Norway, Sweden, and Finland. And then you also have a Jutland Peninsula that is extending from the North European plain toward the Scandinavian Peninsula. And here you have countries such as Denmark is located in this particular region. And if you look at closely to the eastern part of the Scandinavian Peninsula, you have again a small peninsula that is very close to the Arctic Ocean, which is called as Kola Peninsula. So one important point which we can remember about Kola Peninsula is that it is in this region where the deepest hole on the earth has been drilled, which extends all the way up to almost 12 kilometers. This hole was drilled during the time of Soviet Union when they're trying to go deeper inside the earth to understand the overall geology and structure of the earth. So total we can understand 6 major peninsulas are there, and these peninsulas are all part of a larger continent which is Europe, and that is why we have discussed before that Europe is also called as peninsulas of the peninsula. And also what we can understand that though these peninsulas are situated far away from each other, one in a few in the north, few in the south, few in the west, few in the east, what we can see that there is a very strong linkage that has been developed in the form of railways, roadways, airways, and due to this linkage between these peninsulas, Europe has become a very dominant economic, social, and cultural force throughout the recorded history. Now, if you try to understand the major physiographical regions of Europe, we can divide Europe into four major parts. One, we have Western uplands, North European plains, Central uplands, and Alpine mountains. Now, let us try to understand all these four regions on the map of Europe. So, the first is Western uplands. Western uplands again refer to that part of Europe which is situated somewhere in the Scandinavian peninsula region. Then we have the North European lowland, which extend all the way from France to the Ukraine in the east. In the north, it extends all the way up to Poland and then to Hungary in the south. Similarly, we have the central upland, which refers to a highland area that extends all the way from France, Germany to Czechoslovakia, and also to the small nation of Belgium. And then we have the Alpine mountain, these mountains region that has developed due to the continental convergence of African plate to the Eurasian plate, leading to formation of a series of fold mountains. And these entire region, which is surrounded by fold mountains, covered by fold mountains, are called as the Alpine mountains. So let us try to understand each of these regions one by one. So first, let us try to understand about the Western Upland, the first physiographical region of Europe. Now, Western Upland, since as we have discussed, it is situated in the northern part of Europe. It is also known as Northern Highland, and it curves up the western edge of Europe and defines the physical landscape of Scandinavia. Again, Scandinavia basically refers to three countries: Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. And then these days, some other countries like Finland, Iceland are also many times considered as part of Scandinavian countries. However, these are largely a part of a grouping, or a part of grouping that we can call as Nordic countries. So Finland, Iceland, Scotland, Ireland, and all the way up to Brittany region of France, then to Spain and Portugal, we can understand the extent of the Western upland. If we try to understand about the composition, so it is made up of hard, ancient, crystalline rock. Largely on these rock features of Western upland, you will see the impact of glaciation or the evidences of glaciation, because when the earth continuously has moved over a long period of time from the warming phase to the cooling phase, again from cooling phase to warming phase, so what happens, since this area is very close to the Arctic region, we have the melting of glaciers during the warming phase that causes rise of sea level, and as the sea level rises, the entire region is covered by the seawater. And on the other hand, when earth enters into cooling phase, we have the what I can say is the freezing happens of the water and the sea level start to reduce, and this area actually comes under the influence of the glaciers. So due to the movement of glaciers every now and then, we have the evidences of both advancement of glaciers as well as retreatment of glaciers or retreat of glaciers. So since now earth is in the warming phase, what we'll observe is the retreat of glaciers, and due to the retreat of glaciers, a lot of different unique kind of geographical features you'll find in this area, such as abundant marshlands are there. That means when the glacier is retreating back, due to warming, what will happen, it will melt down, the water will accumulate in the shallow depression kind of areas, so that will lead to development of marshland when vegetation start to grow in those regions. Also, we have a lot of lakes, alpine lakes, glaciated lakes you'll find in the area. And the most important unique feature of this particular Scandinavian region is what we can call as fjords. Now, fjords basically refer to a very long and narrow inlet of the sea that is surrounded by high rugged cliffs, and many of the fjords are located in Iceland and Scandinavian regions such as Norway and Sweden. So fjord basically develops because what happens when the glacier is moving over the landmass, it causes erosion, and due to this erosion, we have what we can say, we have deep valleys, narrow valleys are there, that is basically carved out. But when the warming occurs, glacier retreats back, and as the water level of sea rises, the sea level or the sea water start to enter into this glaciated valleys, and this glaciated valleys, which is covered by seawater, as we can see from here in these pictures, are generally referred as fjords. And these are the mountains, these are the rugged cliffs that were earlier covered by the glaciers, but now not more, now no more because of the warming of the earth. The second important region of Europe is what you can call as the most population dense region of Europe, as well as the most fertile region of Europe from the from the agricultural perspective. That is the North European plain. So North European plain, if you look at from the map here, extend all the way from the France, covering a part of Great Britain, to all the way up to Russia in the east. Now, North European plain extend from southern United Kingdom in the east, from the west to the Russia in the east. Apart from that, it also includes many countries in between, such as France is there. We have Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, Denmark, Poland. We have Baltic countries such as Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. Ukraine, and Belarus. In this region, you will also find the most fertile soil of the world, that is a black soil also called as Chernozem, which is well known for the cultivation of sunflower crops. Apart from that, this region also is home to many navigable rivers, longest rivers of Europe. Actually, you'll see flowing in this particular regions, such as the Rhine River in the Germany. We have Weser River, Elbe River, Oder River, and Vistula River. The climate of this region also is moderate and temperate, which support a wide variety of seasonal crops such as potato, beetroots, sunflower. And apart from that, in this area also you will find large-scale plantation of flowers, especially tulip flowers in the Netherlands and Germany. So because of these specialized physical features that has developed here, it also has allowed for the communication, travel, and agriculture to develop extensively in this particular region. And because of development of large cities, because of development of the dense infrastructure, dense transportation facilities, we see that this region has become most densely populated region of Europe. And here you have the large cities, big cities such as you have Berlin, you have Munich, you have Paris, and Amsterdam are located in this particular regions. This, if you look at this particular picture, you can see this is how the northern European plain look like. If it is an agricultural area where the crops such as spring wheat and all these crops are cultivated, and as you discussed in Netherlands, a large area is actually used for cultivation of flowers, because flowers are in very high demand in European countries because it is used very frequently at different occasions by the people in their daily life. The third important region is what we can refer as the central upland region. Now, central upland region extends east-west across central part of Europe and also include western France and Belgium, the southern part of Germany, the Czech Republic, and the parts of northern Switzerland and Austria. The central uplands are lower in height, lower in altitude, and relatively less rugged in terrain if you try to compare it to the alpine regions. However, this part of the central upland is heavily wooded. Heavily wooded means this area has very, very dense forest, because the altitude is lower, temperature is relatively moderate, rainfall is sufficiently higher, that causes dense natural vegetation. Largely, we can say we have the deciduous vegetation, but large part of this area is also covered by coniferous vegetation. Now, if we try to understand the important highland of this particular region, four major highlands are there that we can identify here. First, we have Central Massif and Vosges region, which is in France. Then we have Ardennes of Belgium. Then we have Black Forest and Taunus region. These are the highland regions in Germany. The Ore and Sudeten region in the Czech Republic. Now, let us try to understand these regions on the map of the Europe. So, first of all, as you have discussed, in the central part of France, you have the Central Massif. Now, Central Massif, you can see it is a highland area that has its origin when the collision between the African plate and Eurasian plate has happened, that has caused the rise of Alps mountain. And due to the rise of Alps mountain, a pressure was exerted on the western part or the southern part of France that has caused the rise of this massive landmass. In the nearby, if you look at the France also, you have Jura mountain range that is extending to Switzerland. Then you have Vosges mountain range, which is situated at the border of Germany and France. And then in the western part, you have massive Armoricaine that is also part of the France. And the massive central is also surrounded by another important mountain range that is called as Pyrenees mountain in the Spain and France border, at the Spain and France border. Second highland region is, as we have discussed, Ardennes. Ardennes is a highland area situated in the southeastern part of Belgium. Now, this region is very well known, popular tourist destination also, because you have a lot of old age castles you can find in the mountains and hills of this Ardennes region, and also because these are not very high altitude area. The temperature all throughout there is very, very comfortable and attracts a lot of tourists from all across Europe and even from outside the Europe. The third reason is we have discussed the Black Forest region. So basically, a very important point what you can understand here. Here we have discussed in the France, we have Vosges mountain range, which is a high region, and in the Germany on the other side you have the Black Forest mountain range. So basically, Vosges and Black Forest mountain range form what we call as a fault or block mountain. So this is the mountain. On one side you have Vosges, on the other side you have the Black Forest, and in between you have a valley that we call as Rift Valley. And in this Rift Valley, if you look closely, you have very important river of Germany, that is the Rhine River that flows through. So it is very, very similar to the topography that is seen in the central part of India, where you have Vindhya range, Satpura range, and in between them you have the flow of Narmada River. So similarly here, between France and Germany, you have Vosges range, you have the Black Forest mountain range, and you have the Rhine River that flows through. And as you move more to the north of Germany, at the border of Czechia, earlier Czech Republic, you have two mountain ranges or two upland regions, that is the Ore region, and then you have the Sudeten region. Now, Sudeten region is very, very rich in terms of we can say coal and iron ore reserves, and this is one of the reasons why it was also annexed by Hitler during the World War II or before the we can say beginning of the World War II. It was the annexation of Sudetenland that is trigger point for the World War II that engulfed large number of countries in the later period of time. The next important region of the Europe is what you can call as the Alpine mountain system. Alpine mountain system include a variety of mountain ranges extending all the way from the Italian and Balkan Peninsula in the south of Europe to the northern Spain in the western Europe to the southern France. And the region includes of many mountains such as Alps mountain, Pyrenees mountain, Apennines mountain, Dinaric Alps, Balkans, as well as the Carpathians, which is a very, very important mountain range in the eastern Europe. High elevation, rugged plateaus, and steeply sloping land define this particular regions. And also in this alpine mountain region, you will find the highest peak of the European continent, that is Mount Elbrus, situated at 5,642 meters. It is part of a mountain range that is called as Caucasus Mountain, which is largely in Russia and also extending to smaller countries such as Armenia, Georgia, and Azerbaijan to a certain extent. Alpine region also hosts a lot of active volcanoes such as Mount Etna and Mount Vesuvius in Italy. The reason is because this area is continuously undergoing plate tectonics, because we have the African plate, a big large continental plate. African plate is pushing toward north, and as this plate pushes toward north, the Mediterranean Sea that is situated in between Africa and Europe, that below the Mediterranean Sea you have a small sea plate, that is Mediterranean Sea plate. And due to this northward push of Africa, this Mediterranean Sea plate has been broken into different fragments, several different fragments, and this fragment then try to subduct below the Eurasian continental landmass, giving a kind of oceanic continental convergence. And due to this, when the sea plate of the Mediterranean get destroyed as it goes inside the mantle, the magma rises up, break through the crust of the continent, that is the European continent, and comes out in the form of volcanic eruption. If we try to understand the location of all the important mountain ranges that we have discussed here, so as we can see, we have the Pyrenees mountain that is situated in the nearby Iberian Peninsula near the border of Spain and France. Then we have the Apennines mountain extending in the Italian coast. Then we have the Alps mountain that is covering a large part of Switzerland, France, Austria. Then we have the Balkans in the southeastern part of the Europe. And then we have the Carpathian mountain, kind of arc-shaped mountain extending all the way from the Hungary, Romania, where it have maximum area, Hungary, Romania, Poland, and all the way to Ukraine and then to Moldova in the east. And then we have the Caucasus mountain, which is situated here, somewhere here, where you have the Mount Elbrus, the highest mountain range of Europe. Now, since these areas are located in the temperate latitudes, and also these are the areas where the elevation of mountain is more than 2,500 to 3,000 meters, for most part of time, and especially in winter, the area, the top of the mountain, the upper part of mountain is covered by snow, and thus it attracts a lot of skiers from all across the world to take advantage of the slope of this mountain. If we talk about the natural vegetation of the Europe, so from the north, we have tundra vegetation that is found in the northwestern part or northwestern strip of Europe. Then further, we have boreal wetland such as taiga forest is there. Then we have the cool temperate forest, which is a mixture of coniferous and both deciduous vegetation. And here we'll find trees such as beech tree, we'll find here. We'll have willow, we have adlers that we'll find. Then you have a steppe grassland in the eastern part extend all the way up to Central Asia, and then you have the Mediterranean type of vegetation that you will find in the or along the Mediterranean coast, which is well known for the cultivation of fruits, especially citrus fruit, and that is why this area, the red area that you are seeing on the map here, are well known for the cultivation of grapes, olives, oranges, and also this area is well known for the wine production because of huge amount of grape that is used for the production of wine, and that is why each of these country have a separate wine, a distinct wine brand for itself, such as we know Champagne from France, we have Cognac from France, we have port wine from Portugal, we have Chianti from Italy, and so on and so. So that is all about the important geographical regions and some important facts about the European continent. I hope you like the video. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share it to fellow aspirants, as well as subscribe to our channel for more such content. Thank you very much.